Hi, this is Keaton with Rockdale Music, and today we're going to talk about the parts of the drum set. So the first part of the drum set, which everybody knows, is the sticks, which you use to hit all the drums and the cymbals. There's really two main parts of the drum set, which is the bass drum, which is the biggest drum right down here. And we strike that using something called the bass drum pedal or the kick pedal. Sometimes it's called the kick drum, whatever you want to call it. It's the drum that you hit and it goes thud. Right? The second most important drum that we hit is called the snare drum, and it's right there, right in the center of the drum set, right between the player's legs. And it's called a snare drum because it has these things on the bottom right here called snares. So you'll see that when you turn the snares off, it's just a regular drum like every other drum on the drum set. So the main thing that makes this drum different is this mechanism, which is a throw-off and a strainer, which holds on the snares, making it a snare drum. Now these drums over here are all called tom-toms, shortened to toms often. We call these ones the rack toms because they're over here on this little rack mount that we have, right? A lot of times they're pitched down. Some people reverse them. You know, if you're lefty, they would go the other way. And this is called the floor tom. These are our melodic instruments on the drum set, right? So there's not too much other melody that we play on the drum set. It's mainly a rhythm instrument. So these are our ways to play melody, you know, etc., etc. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the cymbals. And there's really two main cymbals that everybody has on their kit that you'll definitely always see, and that's the hi-hats and some sort of ride or crash cymbal over here. And the point of the hi-hats basically is to keep time. Right, so the hi-hats are a very high-pitched instrument. You can play them closed or you can play them open. There's hundreds of variants in between those two different places, right? So you can be a little bit open, still a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Wide open, right? Now you're just playing the top cymbal. Right? We can play the cymbals with the tip of our stick, or what we call the shoulder of our stick, which is this part of the stick which tapers from thick to thin. Right there. So gets you a little more chunk out of the hi-hat, and that gets you a little more click out of the hi-hat when you use the tip. So likewise, we can use those two different parts of the drumstick on every cymbal, right? So over here we have the ride cymbal. Most of the time with the ride cymbal, you're going to use the tip of the stick. Max Roach was actually coined as inventing the ride cymbal to ride the time. So again, timekeeping devices, right, as a drummer. Different ride cymbals will have different sounds. You kind of have to figure out where you want to hit them to achieve the sound that you want. There's also bells on cymbals. Again there, I showcase the two different sounds, right? So the tip of the stick versus the shoulder. Here's the tip again. Here's the shoulder. Right, shoulder's a little louder, a little brighter. It's going to cut more through the band, whereas the tip will be a little quieter if you're maybe playing with a smaller ensemble. The next thing we can do with this cymbal, and with all cymbals as well, is to crash it. So we're going to hit this. This is a really heavy ride, so it's going to sound a little crazy. But other rides might sound a little nicer, but... Right, so all of those sounds are now available on this cymbal over here, which is generally a crash cymbal. Again, all of these things can be changed however you want it. But tip of the stick, shoulder of the stick, tip of the stick on the bell, shoulder of the stick on the bell. Again, very drastic sound, so it's all about what you want. You know, you can also play on the hoops of the drums. Again, different sounds based on where you're playing on the stick, right? So really think about how you want to achieve the sounds that you want. The other thing to think about after you know all of the components of the drum set is how you're going to set up the drum set. Right? So there's this thing called ergonomics, which is the aspect of allowing your body to be most natural. So this drumming thing is not really a natural thing for our body to do at all. So what we want to do is try to accommodate to our body as much as we can by setting up the drums in an ergonomic way. right? So that's why the cymbal's a little tilted down, right, as opposed to being flat up. But everybody has their own different ways they like to set up the drum set. Sometimes if you play traditional, some people will lean the snare away from them, right, to emulate the aspect of marching drumming that we were talking about earlier. So again, it's all about what works for you and what feels comfortable for you and your body. So experiment, have fun.